Hello, my name is Felicity Brindle and I'm the head of campus at BlackRock, world's asset management firm. Today I'm going to be talking about embracing a candidate-driven market. BlackRock, to give you a bit of context, is the world's largest asset management firm. We've got 3.72 trillion under assets, 11,000 employees and 70 offices in 30 countries. In terms of our graduate offerings, we have graduate programs across Asia, the US, Canada and EMEA, and this year our global class is looking at 375 for our incoming analysts. A bit more information about Europe. Our class this year is looking like it's going to be 102 and interns 112. This is quite a long journey from where we've come from though. So if I rewind you back to 2011, in EMEA we only recruited in London and Edinburgh. Our graduate class was around 55, our internship class around sort of 45, and our gender diversity was pretty low at around sort of 30% or so. What we did find when we started talking to businesses was there was a lot of appetite to grow, but there was a lot of issues with our brand awareness in the market. Graduates simply didn't know who we were despite our strong lateral offering. There was a lot of confusion about our roles, our offerings, and if you had heard of us, you probably just thought we did investments only. So what we did was we basically bucketed all of our business areas. So the idea was, in order to make clear what students could apply to, what their skill sets would be relevant for them to understand what we did, we took our 72 different business units and put them into 6 core areas, which was really around client businesses, investments, analytics and risk, technology, advisory, and corporate. And the idea behind this was then we could build attraction strategies for each bucket. We could run bespoke events for students so they could understand exactly what skill set they needed to work in each bucket, and again through the application process follow this train of thought through. So some examples of this was that we could run for our analytics division science into BlackRock, so demonstrating how people with analytical and technical skills but that didn't necessarily know a lot about finance could still have a career at BlackRock. We focused on educational talks, on educational articles, so things like comparing the buy side, the sell side, numbers behind the numbers, which has helped highlight again our analytics divisions. We held diversity events and also skill sessions on campus, all arranged to help broaden the brand of BlackRock. Following this through to the application process, we followed the same. So previously, where we'd had over 100 roles listed on the website, we were concerned that candidates were being asked to pick far too early on the very specific role that they were going to do. And by doing that, we were putting too much on them, but also from our perspective, perhaps losing out on talent that could be really suitable for a different role. So by creating these pools of talent, again, mimicking these 6 core areas, we were allowing the candidates to have greater choice. We were giving them the opportunity to be seen by more business areas within these functions, but also for us to create, as I said, these pools of talent that we could draw from in order to hire correctly going through. All of this had a great impact in terms of we hit the Times Top 100 in 2013, coming in at 92. We were then very excited in 2014 to be in at 61, so a good jump up. Whether we'll get to do this again in 2015 remains to see. But that for us was a clear sign that our brand awareness was working. What we then started to think about was how could we continue to build on our brand, to continue to reach students, but putting students first. And then we really thought about doing a virtual recruiting approach. And now what that means is that we're able to work more closely with continental offices by doing virtual webinars, by doing video conferences, by sending articles over, by engaging in this virtual space in order to reach them. Once they get to the application point, we've now also introduced a part of our process where you come through, you make your application, you do your upload your CV, you may do a test or not, and then you also complete a virtual interview. Now, this can be a bit scary for students, so the things that we thought about are uploading further information around the role. There's a video explaining more about BlackRock, about why we've instituted this process and tips for success. And also just trying to make it more of a personalised feel for them as they come into this part of the process. From our perspective, it's again giving candidates a greater breadth, so more people are being invited through to interview. It gives the candidates a better opportunity to make them stand out from just their CV, but also for our local offices, it allows them to interview in local languages and also test language skill sets as they're coming through. So All of this leads us to how do we continue on with the candidate-driven market, and this is an evolving process. So I think the future still very much remains in developing this virtual space, be it on the assessment process, be it in early engagement of candidates, so the more interactive as some sites are doing now in terms of finding out about role, but it also leads to the question of how many events are we still going to run on campus, where are the students actually coming to find out about the companies. Will we be seeing more virtual recruiting, more emphasis on media, on online, and drawing back of events going forward? It's a bit of a food for thought and one of the interesting topics that we've been able to talk about today.